Hello, welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. This week, we're going to discuss the Fae. More specifically, how to know when the Fae are around you or your home. So stay tuned. Okay, so this week I wanted to cover a topic I've been getting a lot of questions about. And I wanted to do this video sooner, but this has actually been a hard video to do because there's no hard and fast rules of when do I know the Fae are about. So I actually had to go through a lot of notes and a lot of research and compile a list of what I thought the most common things would be. So with that said, I do want to cover some of the most common things that might signal that there are Fae nearby in your home. And that's not a bad thing in particular. I know a lot of people's like, I don't want Fae in my house. That's bad. They're mischievous. They're going to cause trouble. Not necessarily. Many of the Fae, especially the Fae that come into human homes, are very, very helpful. That said, you can do things to upset them. And before we get started, I would like to talk about that. Now, if you do accidentally upset the Fae, we did a video on rules of working with the Fae, so I'll try and link that here, but go check that out. That'll definitely help you keep from upsetting them. But what if you don't know they're in the house? What if you don't know you upset them? What do you do? Well, honestly, that's pretty simple. You can easily leave out an offering or a gift of some kind, like heavy cream, honey, some kind of baked goods, sweets. One thing I know some Southerners leave out is sweetened condensed milk because it is super sweet. And it's got that dairy cream aspect to it also. So those are some options. But when you leave it out and just set it out, tell them it's for them. Don't say this is so you'll forgive me and won't mess with me no more or anything like that. Just offer it and say this is a gift for you. I hope we can be friends and wish them the best. Now, the reason for this is you don't want them to view this as a bribe. That will only further insult them if you've already upset them, or if you haven't, now you will upset them. By doing it this way and setting it up so that it's a gift, you're asking for friendship, and you're wishing them well. If they're upset with you, they're going to be in a better mood. If they're not upset with you, they'll find it, and you could actually end up with some friends and allies. So it's really going to help solve your problem either way. Now, when you do give this gift, give it on a small plate, small tray, somewhere in the corner, out of the way. You don't want it in a high traffic area. You want to give them some privacy. And if privacy is tricky, leave the offering out overnight somewhere where it can be as private as possible. Okay, now with that covered, let's talk about some of the things that might signal to you that there's Fae around. Now, one of the first ones that I was taught, and honestly this one does seem to be pretty accurate, is smells. You start smelling things, and I'm not talking sulfur, it's like sweet things. You might smell cookies baking when there are no cookies, or cakes, or honey. Any of these kinds of smells usually do tend to say there's a Fae around. I do have one Fae, I won't give their name, that loves to hang around my house, and every time they're in the room it smells like freshly baked sugar cookies at Christmas. Oh my god, it's good. Not good for my diet because every time I smell it I want cookies, and I can binge on them, but I don't. I hold off, luckily. Though if there's cookies in the house plus the Fae, I'm a weak man. I am at that point. Now some people will say when you hear birds singing, I live in the South. Birds are singing all the time. I've not really been able to prove or disprove this one, so I put it in there, but I honestly put it in there because I just don't see how that one works. I don't. Okay, now the next one, and this one we have had happen a lot in our house personally and many of our friends' houses as well, is when your pet starts playing by itself, but it doesn't appear to be playing with anything. The ideal is it's playing with a Fae. Many a times this has been true, many a times, but this can actually apply to some other entities as well, including dragons. I know our cats, they used to play with the Fae all the time before they moved on, and they definitely played with the dragons all the time. So this can go either way, but this is actually a good sign that there is something playing with your pet, and it is very likely a Fae. Okay, another common one that people will say is the Fae is small spheres of light or lights showing up in a room and disappearing real quick, darting. This ain't a bad one to consider if you start seeing these phenomenon. I know a lot of people start thinking ghost right away, but the Fae actually can be generating these lights as well. But do leave it open for the fact that it could be a car driving by or any kind of reflection from outside in. That does happen a lot, but it can also be Fae. This is another one of those, when you see it happen, register it, think about it, consider it, use your critical thinking, and come to your conclusion. Is this a Fae or is it not? Now, one that I kept finding that I found it kind of ironic because they always listed it as chilling, spooky, eerie sounds and music. I have heard a lot of music created by the Fae. And yes, some of it can definitely have some, I'd say, slower sounds, possibly chilling. But I've always found it very pleasant. At the same time, more often, it's usually something really uplifting, kind of chimey, windy, airy, when I do hear it. Kind of a bell. So I don't know why everyone put that really deeper slant on it. But, yeah, musical sounds or chimes are definitely something that could signal that there is a Fae in your vicinity. Okay, now the next one, I think everyone knows it, or most people do anyway. The fairy ring. If you start having fairy rings appearing in your yard on a regular basis, there's a real good chance there's fairies and Fae around your house a lot. This is a very popular one. There's a lot of scientific reasons for why it does happen, as I covered in the rules for working with the Fae. But the Fae are definitely attracted to these, and they do seem to connect. All of them I've encountered do connect with the Fae realms. So if you see one, that's a dead good chance that you've got yourself some Fae running around. Okay, now the next one. The next one's the one that creeps me out. It's not meant to. They don't mean it that way, but it does. It's who I am. The problem's on me. And that is phantom laughter. Yes, giggling and laughter, that disembodied sound. That just creeps me out. But that is also the sign that you could have Fae around. And it's usually light. It's very childlike, giggling kind of laughter. Very pleasant, honestly. But I'm one of those people, most entities and ghosts do not bother me. It's the children ghosts that bother me. They creep me out. I don't know why. I think it's partially their innocence. And when you're dead and innocent, you don't know right from wrong. They can actually be some of the more dangerous. So it's that old joke. Nothing's more soothing than a baby's laughter, unless it's 3 a.m. and you don't have a baby in the house. But as funny as that is, this is actually one of the ones that creep me out, but it is also a sign that there could be Fae around. So listen for that laughter. Now, this one kept getting listed separately, so I'm going to throw it in separately. But everyone wanted to say flowers. You know, the smell of flowers. I've on my notebooks, I'll admit, I guess I have phantom scents that remind me of the fairies thrown in together. So flowers, the baked goods, all that stuff, it really is all one and the same for me. But that said, so many people separated it out. I thought I should go ahead and throw it in separate. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. Okay, the next one's tricky. It's deviations of air. Now, this is important. You can have a cross draft happen randomly. That really isn't going to count. However, if you know you've got air coming this way and you feel air come this way, register that now, because that's the point where you got two currents moving against each other. That is a phenomenon that can happen naturally, but that is a sign of Fae, and it's because their movement and or their wings, for those that have wings, could very well be creating that little puff of air that you just felt. Okay, now, probably the most popular and common way to know you got Fae around your house is items randomly come up missing and reappear in different locations, or just have moved entirely. And this is usually because they love playing games, and they'll take an item, they'll move it, and it's shiny items, but it doesn't have to be, and they'll move it around, put it in different rooms, or they'll wait until you're looking for it, you tear your desk up, you know it's on your desk, but it ain't there, you leave, you come back, and it's in the biggest, widest open spot on your desk. There's no way you could have missed it, and they're laughing at you. That is a great way to know if you got Fae running around your house. True, there are other entities that do that. I can think of a few dragons who've done that crap to me. But Fae really do have the monopoly on this, I guess you could say. Not a full monopoly, but they do this more than any other entity. Now, some people say a feeling of warmth on your skin when there shouldn't be is the sign that the Fae are there and they're actually making contact with you. I can't say I've actually encountered that one, though I do tend to work with the dark Fae, so maybe they're just less touchy-feely, I don't know. But I can say that this has worked for many entities I do work with. It's very easy that they get my attention. I just feel that warmth on my skin. So it would stand to reason this would be a great way to know if the Fae are around too, if they happen to be touching you. Okay, and one of the last ones that is on most people's list is eyes in the woods. Now, I don't like how most people name this, but I've really not found a better name for it. In fact, if you can think of a better name for this after I describe it, drop it below. I'd love to hear it. But this is essentially you feel like something in the woods is looking at you, watching you. Not necessarily menacingly, but not maybe necessarily something you're comfortable. I mean, getting watched is uncomfortable, but or you see movement in the woods that just vanishes instantly. It's like it was there 1 minute, gone the next. This is signs that the Fae are moving through the woods and you're spotting them, they're running into hiding, they're disappearing, those kinds of things. So if you live in a wooded area, this is definitely something that you could watch for as a sign that you have Fae in your natural surroundings. However, this also applies to urban environments. Most people don't want to think about it, but Fae do live in urban environments now. The world's changed, they've evolved as well, so you can actually experience this phenomenon in a city. And just like in the woods, don't go chasing after them. First off, what if you did see somebody and it's somebody that's not nice? And secondly, the Fae do not, if it's hiding from you, it doesn't want to be found. It's that simple. So don't go chasing it, that'll get you in trouble with the Fae. Now, these are some of the more common things that most people will list as signs that the Fae are around. Some of the others that I've come across that are not as common. Perhaps something seems cleaner than it was when you left. That's right, it might just be like one little spot or something, but somehow, some way, a spot in the kitchen, a room in the house, it seems cleaner. And you have no explanation for it. Now, obviously go through, find out if someone's been in your house, comes through, maybe your mom, your friend, whatever, roommate. But once that's knocked out, there's a good chance that the Fae were helping you clean up. And that's a good thing. They actually do enjoy helping you when they're in good spirits about you, as opposed to being upset with you. If they're upset with you, they will actually make a mess, as opposed to helping you clean. Now on this one, I do want to point out, never take and ask the Fae to clean your house, or ask them to help. They take that as rude. This is something they do out of the kindness of their heart because they like you, and it's something you should never ask them for. But it is one of the signs that I've picked up on in a lot of people's houses that there are Fae around. Might not be listed in the more common ones, but it is there. Other things that I've come across are definitely food and drink missing, especially stuff like heavy cream, beer, wine, almost any kind of alcohol really, and sweets. Sweets go disappearing. Now, if you have roommates, odds are your roommate stole the cookie and don't want to tell you. But if you live alone, that one can be utilized a little easier. Anyhow, these are just a few of the things that you could utilize to determine whether or not there might be fae in your area or in your home. This list is by no means complete, and if you go online and do some research, you'll find out there are a lot of different ways and a lot of different viewpoints on this, and that's one reason this was such a difficult video to get done. If you just use this list here, you should be able to pin down whether or not you have the possibility of fae in your home or around your home pretty easily. And I do promise to have more videos on the fae and working with them coming out very soon. So if you enjoyed the video, and you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Also, smash that like button and drop a comment below, even if it's just to say hi. Helps the channel out a lot. And not only would I like to know what you might name that Eyes of the Forest one, but what are some ways of knowing the fae are around that you've heard of and that you found seem to be accurate? I'd love to hear your responses. Leave them in the comments below. I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.